And they came back to the other side of the sea, to the region of the Gerasenes. And as Jesus was climbing out of the boat, he was immediately met by a man who lived among some nearby tombs. Oh, the man had an unclean spirit. Now, no one was able to bind the man any longer, not even with a chain. Oh, he had often been bound with shackles and chains, but he would wrench the chains apart and break the shackles into pieces. And no one had the strength to subdue him. And throughout every night and day, among the tombs and on the mountains, he would scream and slash himself with stones. And seeing Jesus from a distance, he ran, bowed before him, and shouted in a loud voice, "What? What do you have against me, Jesus, Son of the Most High God? Swear an oath by God. Do not torture me." You see, Jesus had already said to him, "Unclean spirit, come out of the man." And Jesus asked him, "What is your name?" And he replied, "My name is Legion, because we are many." And he began pleading wildly with Jesus not to send them out of that region. Now, a large herd of pigs was feeding there on the hillside, and the unclean spirits pleaded with Jesus, "Send us to the pigs, let us enter them." And he dismissed them. And coming out of the man, the unclean spirits entered the pigs, and the herd, numbering about 2,000, charged down the steep bank into the sea and drowned in the sea. And those who had been feeding the pigs fled and reported all this in the city and in the countryside. People came to see what had happened. And they came to Jesus and saw the demoniac, the one who had been possessed by the legion, sitting, clothed, and in his right mind. They were afraid. And those who had seen all this recounted for them what had happened to the demoniac and the pigs. And the people began to plead with Jesus to leave their region. And as he was getting into the boat, the man who had been possessed by demons pleaded with him that he might go with him. And Jesus said, "Go home to your people. Report to them what the Lord has done for you and how the Lord showed you mercy." And the man left. And he began to proclaim, in the Decapolis, everything that Jesus had done for him. And everyone was amazed. When Jesus had crossed back over to the other side in the boat, a large crowd gathered around him as he was by the sea. And one of the synagogue leaders came, a man named Jairus. And seeing Jesus, Jairus fell at his feet and pleaded urgently with him. My daughter is near death. Come, lay hands on her so that she may be healed and live." And Jesus went with him, and a large crowd was following him and pressing in on him. Now, there was a woman in the crowd who she had had a flow of blood over the course of 12 years. She had endured many things under the care of many physicians and spent everything she had, and had not been helped at all, but rather was growing worse. Hearing about Jesus, she came from behind him in the crowd and touched his cloak, because she had been saying, if I just touch his clothes, I will be healed. And immediately, the source of her bleeding dried up. And she knew in her body that she had been healed of the disease. And Jesus was immediately aware of the power that had gone out from him. He turned around in the crowd and said, "Who touched my clothes?" And his disciples said to him, "You see the crowd pressing in on you and you say, 'Who touched me?'" And Jesus kept looking around to see who had done this. And the woman, frightened and trembling, having realized what had happened to her, came before him and told him the whole truth. And he said to her, "Daughter, your faith has healed you. Go in peace and remain free of the disease." Now, while he was still speaking with her, some people came from the house of the synagogue leaders saying, Your daughter has died. Why trouble the teacher any longer?" And overhearing what they said, Jesus said to the synagogue leader, "Do not be afraid, only have faith." And he did not allow anyone to follow him except Peter, James, and John, the brother of James. And they came to the house of the synagogue leader. And Jesus saw a great commotion of people, sobbing and wailing. And entering, he said to them, "Why are you making such a commotion and sobbing? The child is not dead. She is sleeping." And they began mocking him and driving everyone out. He took the child's father and mother and those with him and went in where she was. And grasping the girl by the hand, he said to her, "Talitha cum," which is translated, "Little girl, I tell you, rise." And immediately the girl rose and began walking. She was 12 years old. And they were immediately overcome with amazement. And he ordered them strictly to tell no one about this. Oh, and he told them to give her something to eat.